the great hitters in the National League, one of the great hitters in baseball, has a double and 2 home runs, one of them a grand slam, and that has broken it wide open. The Giants 8 and the Cubs 3.
Wow, I remember that like it was yesterday, Larry. And we got the great number 22 on the phone. Thank you so much, Will, for joining us. I know you're busy. How are you?
Doing great, guys. How about y'all?
No, doing great.
We got the news last night, the unfortunate news, Will, of the passing of the great Vin Scully. When you heard the news, can you kind of share with us your initial thoughts?
The first thing I thought about when I heard about Vin was just the fact that what a unbelievable human being. I mean, not only for the game of baseball, but the game of life. And, he was there for so many unbelievable moments in the game of baseball, whether it was with the Dodgers or, as you heard in that call right there in '89, whether it was us and the Cubs, for what that man did for the sport and the gentleman that he was away from the field. It was absolutely a heartfelt loss.
Absolutely. Man, Saturday night was magical, Will. I'll speak for the entire Bay Area just by saying we love you, brother. I mean, and that was incredible. And I just want your thoughts on, now you've had a couple days to kind of breathe a little bit, sit back with your fam and kind of break it all down. What was Saturday night like for you?
Saturday was so special because, it had been, 2 years in coming. I had prepared extremely well for it. And I was just so ready just to get the ceremony going. And, when, up there looking at my teammates and Mike Krueger, when he started almost breaking down, I'm like, I got to keep it together here. And, but once I got out on the field, it was like being in the batter's box. Like, all right, this is, I'm ready, let's roll. And, the whole point of, my speech was, I was put in a position to do things because of my teammates, because of the fans, because of the city that I played in, all that sort of stuff. And I wanted to bring everybody along for that ride.
Will, let me ask you this, because back to Saturday, and Larry was right. It was emotional, and for me, I didn't even know how heavy it was going to get, but to see, the fire you still had, the love that the fans had for you, and I'm seeing you embrace Barry right now. I'm like, that's the fire I want to see from the 2022 Giants, and Will, I don't see that from the players or the managers. Is that a fair criticism? I want that back.
Put it this way. I'm not going to disagree, shall we say.
Okay.
My big thing, was when I'm out there on the field and something good happens, something bad happens, whatever, the fans that are in the stands want to see that, hey, look, you care. And for me personally, I'm all about, the enthusiasm and showing emotions and all that. So you'll never, ever hear me say, no, I want less. No, I actually want more. I want somebody to wear it on the sleeve. I want to know that they care.
Hearing Joey Bart do an interview, he's like, man, Will's my guy, and he's so invested. You're invested in these guys, but they're also invested in you, and I know you spent time as a roving instructor with the Giants. I know your schedule's busy, and you got a beautiful family, and I'm not speaking about the Giants situation in particular. It's more of a general question. Could you ever manage in the big leagues? I know you could do it, but is that part of could you do that job? Would you ever want to do that job?
I could do it, but I am also not that guy that's going to consistently pat you on the back when you're screwing up.
Right.
If you're screwing up, I'm going to tell you, you're screwing up, and I'm going to be all up in your grill. And, some of these guys now can't take that constructive criticism. I'm flat out being serious. And, they would cower away instead of stepping up. And I was very prideful in the fact that Matt Williams, Robert Thompson, Kevin Mitchell, Barry Bonds, you name all the names, these guys stepped up. They stepped up, and they wanted to be there, and they were willing to take the constructive criticism that came with it, and that's why we won.
You're listening to Larry and Guru on 95.7 The Game. We're joined by the great Will Clark. Will, I got to ask you this because I understand losing 8-1 and maybe you don't got the most talent, but when a team consistently, night in, night out, is kicking the ball around or misjudging the ball, to me that's not okay. What message does that send to you when you watch this Giant team just not able to field after winning 107 games just last year?
You know, one of the things that people don't quite understand. You know, you're losing Buster. Crawford's hurt. Had veterans at second and center field. So we were really strong up the middle. Right now, with Crawford being out, and then we had injuries to our catching staff. You're switching guys around. Guys are new to the organization. It puts a little pressure on the guys. And one of the things that I want to see, and I definitely want to see this as far as a player, as far as an instructor, is I want to see guys come out and work. And when you come out and take like 10 ground balls, 15 ground balls, or whatever, that to me is not acceptable. And so, hey, look, baseball is tough. It is really tough. Don't get me wrong. But, if you work at the craft, you keep working at the craft, and then all of a sudden out of the clear blue, you get really comfortable out there, good things start to happen. When you don't work at the craft, this game right here, the baseball guys will shoot up.
You brought an intensity. I was trying to describe it to Goo, the intensity of Will Clark as a young player, and we saw it. 85 was a disaster. 86 was a totally different vibe, and you and Robbie on the right side of that diamond were a big part of that. That intensity can rub people wrong, and sometimes I would imagine you had players who push back. There was an awful lot written about your relationship with Kevin Mitchell, your relationship with the Hack Man, and yet they were there Saturday night, and they showed their love for you. Maybe you could talk to us, Will, about how your relationship with those two guys evolved through the years.
Well, I mean, Hackman was, my mentor, one of my mentors my rookie year, and, you got to go through the rookie agent. And, he was tough. I mean, and, needless to say, after a little while, you get tired of it and, fought back a little bit. But since then, you come to appreciate, and I even said it in my speech, there were several people out there with, tough love. And that's how I grew up, and that's how I got to be the man I am. That's how I got to be a guy, that wanted to be in that situation. Kevin Mitchell and I, we never had a crossword in our life. He and I were freaking two peas in a pod. The Boogie Bear and I were in the middle of the lineup, and we both wanted to be there.
Just to follow up on the Boogie Bear, because that was his nickname. Will, I got to ask you about, because you referenced it, and I said to my kid, I said he referenced it because he was that freaking special. You referenced Mitch's 89 season. That season, I mean, I've seen Barry do incredible stuff. Griffey Jr. do incredible stuff. A lot of great hitters. I mean, we watched Miggy Cabrera win the Triple Crown. I don't think I ever saw a better season than Mitchell in 89. Everything off his bat was loud. His outs were line drives to third base, to the third baseman or shortstop or left fielder. I mean, he was absolutely incredible that year. What was it like for you to watch it? And as a hitter, and as a guy who's made his life about hitting, describe for those who didn't see it what 89 Mitchell was really about.
Oh, my God. So Kevin Mitchell, needless to say, he was number 4 hole hitter. I was 3. He had 47 homers that year, 120 RBIs, and basically dominated. I mean, from day one. And for me personally, I had over 420 on base percentage that year. So I was on base a lot, and I got a chance to see it from not only out on the field, but the dugout or whatever. And when you see seasons like that, you're like, oh my God, how good was that guy? And, it really was a lot of fun being in the lineup. Because he said he fed off of me. It was vice versa. I'm like, hey, look, big boy, I am getting on base for you because you are the man right now. And so that was the way we went about our job.
It's Larry and Guru on 95.7 The Game, joined by the great number 22, Will Clark. Will, I'm a 70s baby, and I told Larry this. I love the game. I feel like it's betrayed me in this sense. I'll never leave it. The runner on second in extra innings. There's nothing more prestigious in sports to me than first base. The three true outcomes. Guys starting in lineups, batting 150, 180. It's littered around the league. When you watch your game now, Will, the Will I think I know, do you like it?
Let's just say it's a very watered. You know, I mean, the stuff that we did. I mean, the stuff thick skin, and you know, I mean, the stuff you had to do where you had to be a man and step up. That's kind of gone by the wayside a little bit. They have, let's just call it baby-fied the game. You know, going into second base. You know, you gotta go in perfectly. You can't go and break up. You know, you can't get a home plate and hit catcher. You know, it's like, Jesus Christ, if I got to run 90 feet, I'm going to hit somebody. You know, come on, give me a break. I mean, they are diluting this game. The game that, you know, our forefathers brought us. I mean, the game that Willie Mays, Rudy McCovey, Orlando Cepeda, Juan Nash, Dear Lord Perry, that handed it down to my generation. I'm trying to hand it down to this baby-fied group. No, sorry, it ain't happening.
Wow. One of my favorite moments. First of all, I love the Giants rivalries in the 80s were incredible, but the Giants and Cardinals had a great one. And it wasn't just the players. It was Whitey and Roger Craig, and Roger called so many great pitch outs, and they were some incredible doubleheaders where you guys just shut down the Cardinal vaunted running game. But I got to ask you about the play in St. Louis. You're going in that second,
awesome.
and Akendo. I mean, I didn't realize watching that video again what a punk Akendo was. My goodness, you slid in there, he kicks you, then he hits you in the head, and it was on, man. And my proudest moment as a Giants fan was watching Maldonado. I don't think he ever got from first to second faster than he did right then, and he just dropped Ozzie. Tell me your thoughts of that moment, and have you ever talked to either Candy about it or Akendo or Ozzie about it?
So, you know, later in my career, I went over to St. Louis, and, you know, Akendo was my third base coach. And he and I went and had beers, and we laughed and giggled, cut up. And it's just, hey, boys being boys, playing the game hard. All that stuff, believe it or not, started from the night before. There was some issues that we had with some guys from the night before. We didn't take care of the job on the field. So I said, well, shit, I'm going to go take care of the job. And, you know, going down there, you know, like I said before, if I got to run 90 feet, I'm going to hit somebody. So here we go. Game on. And then, you know, I get clapped or whatever it was on the ground. It's like, Here we go, big boy. Way uppercut right inside your nose.
We'll get you out of here on this one. I know you're busy. Every time I get the opportunity to talk to a former big leaguer, you know, a position player, I say, you remember your first home run? And yours was off the great Nolan Ryan. Talk to us about that.
Talk to you about it. How do you expound on that fairy tale? You walk up to home plate and there's Nolan Ryan out on the mound. 3 pitches later, you're taking keepers out of center field in the Astrodome. How do you expound on that other than, good Lord, it doesn't get any better now? How about starting off a big league career like that? How about that fairy tale start? And, you know, I could tell you about all the things that went into that at bat. Yeah, it's a long story, but it was just the fact that, you know, get this out of the plate. Once in my career, you get a pitch out over the plate, and it's like, thank God I didn't miss it.
Yeah. Who did you point to there? Was that Pops in the stands that night? Who were you pointing to right there when you came around?
I had, good Lord, 60, 70, 80 people in the stands.
Wow.
You know, and every time my family was in the stands, I made sure I pointed to them. So.
That is very, very cool.
Hey, Will, we know you're busy. Thank you so much for joining us, man. We hope to see you at the yard coming soon.
Yeah, no, I'm standing in the middle of the ballpark right now. I'm watching the Dodgers do a inter-squad game.
Will, can you get in the lineup?
Yeah, seriously. We could use your bat.
Put it this way. You guys have seen some of the videos and stuff. I can still swing a baseball bat.
I saw you hit one of the China base. Did you see that?
The problem is getting down to first base.
Thanks a lot, Will.
Congrats again, Will.
You got it. Y'all have a good one.